Hi everyone, welcome to Languages Explained. If it's your first time here, a big welcome. On this channel, I talk about everything related to languages. And today I wanted to focus on some of the best ways that you can learn languages. So to give a bit of a story about myself, I started learning languages at school and found I absolutely loved them. And I went on to study languages at Oxford. After Oxford, where I studied French and Spanish, I then started to learn other languages kind of similar to French and Spanish, so Italian and Portuguese. So what have I learned over all of these years of language learning? Well, my first tip to learn languages really well is to go to the country where that language is spoken. We all learn languages interacting with the people around us, trying to communicate when we're talking about our native language. We didn't sit and study grammar in a classroom. So it's really the most effective way. And when I say go to the country, I don't just mean going there and hoping that by osmosis you can just be around all the sounds and you can magically learn a language. That won't work. You will really have to try and communicate with people, have meaningful exchanges with them, try and understand. But you'll be surprised by how quickly you can learn that way. Usually it's about, to be honest, 6 months, depending on how exposed you are to that language. Number 2 is watch YouTube. So I unfortunately don't live in the exotic places that I had the luxury of being able to travel to when I was studying. So I get a lot of my language exposure now via YouTube videos, via native speakers doing any kind of video in their native language. And I always recommend to my students that they watch videos that they would watch in their own language because it's so interesting to them. So you don't have to watch the news if you think it's boring or watch some very educational video. You can watch a makeup tutorial or you can watch a video about skateboarding if that's what your passion is. Make sure it's really interesting to you because that's the way that you're going to be really engaged in the content and be really paying attention to what they're saying. The third one is grammar. Now, there are a lot of arguments saying that concentrating too much on grammar is not always the best thing for you to do. There are other things that are far more important, and I definitely agree with that. But grammar does really help give you the building blocks for languages, especially if you already have some of the basics. I know for me, when I was learning Italian, I learned it more in a way of exposure to the language, not the kind of classroom method. And I found that once I'd had a bit of exposure, had learnt to communicate more or less on a basic level, learning a bit of grammar helped me understand, oh, okay, I see why I have to say it like this. Or, oh, okay, well, now that I know I have to do it like this for this verb, I also know how to do it for another verb that I've just learnt. So it teaches you the patterns of the language, which I think is really useful. Another good thing is reading. Reading allows you to see the words written on the page. And because books tend to be written in a way that's maybe more sophisticated than your everyday speaking, it allows you to learn to read and write well in that language as well. And then lastly, the most important thing when you're learning languages is relax. It's so difficult to try and communicate in this other language, especially when you're speaking with native speakers who speak it far better than you. And sometimes you're in really stressful situations like trying to communicate in a bank or trying to figure out how you can buy a train ticket. But languages and language learning is a really ongoing process. Even for me now, after a degree and some years spent living in these foreign countries, I still am learning every day new words, new ways of saying things. So it's really important that you don't get too stressed if you don't feel like you know everything straight away, and enjoy the process. You'll learn a lot more effectively if you're not hampered by the stress that I completely understand comes with learning a new language. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe. I make videos every week and I hope to see you very soon. Bye bye.